Distinguidos miembros y colegas, bienvenidos. Welcome to the 2023 USHCC Legislative Summit, America's Business Future Breakfast. At this time, please rise for our national anthem, being sung by award-winning operatic mezzo-soprano and Best Latino Female Vocalist by the Washington Area Music Awards, Ms. Ana Mer Castrello.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
You may be seated. Thank you, Ms. Castrello, for that beautiful rendition. We are now pleased to share these messages from our esteemed USHCC corporate partners at Google.
The Grow with Google Digital Coaches program is designed to help you.
We understand that technology can be daunting, and our job is to humanize that experience for you.
Everyone should have access to technology and information.
We're the go-to resource for diverse small business owners who are looking for digital skills training.
We could build businesses all through these online digital tools like Gmail, like using the Drive, like using our Google Analytics to make sure that we're making a difference and that we could actually use data to drive that growth.
We help you become visible.
The time to grow your business online is now.
Head on over to grow.google/digitalcoaches.
Colleagues and friends, members, and distinguished guests, working to grow America's economy by supporting small, minority, and women-owned businesses for more than 3 decades. He has been a leading Latino voice on entrepreneurship, small business growth, trade and commerce, an expert in economic development, featured for his leadership and work in Fortune, Forbes, Time, Newsweek, CNN, The Associated Press, The Economist, The Washington Post, The Hill, and many others. Please give a warm welcome to your United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, Ramiro A. Cavazos.
Buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the nation's capital, the most important city in the world. And welcome to our Latino business owners, our board members, our staff, our chambers, our Hispanic business enterprises and corporates. You all are the best thing that's happening to America's economy today. Welcome to our United States Hispanic Chamber 2023 Legislative Summit. It's great to see so many familiar faces, friends, colleagues, and as we host another sold-out event. So give yourself a round of applause. Thank you so much. I want to extend my gratitude from the bottom of my heart to everyone that has joined us, all of our sponsors that made today, the next couple of days possible. Last year, we had a great conference, another sold-out event in Phoenix at our national conference. I don't know if she's here, but I want to thank Melanie Villalobos for the great job that she did. Yes, let's give her a round of applause. You know, the Japanese have a saying, when you drink the water, don't forget who dug the well. And so I'm just very grateful to the shoulders that we stand on, and we are a powerful national network. But it was with the support of that great event that we're able to host future great events. And so I just want to thank the great people of Arizona for hosting us. Today, I welcome you to the home, not just of our national headquarters of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, 750 17th Street, Suite 825, for any of you that want to come by. It's right across from the Eisenhower building. Thanks to our board, we have moved offices in the last year, and they're your offices. And we welcome you to come by anytime and use our space. Our message, though, for this summit this year is simple yet powerful. We are here, and we're driving America's economy. We are the future of not just this global economy based in the North American continent, but this week you're going to meet great speakers, collaborate with partners, government agencies. We're here to give you more business. We're here to teach you how to get more business, and we're also here to give the 63.5 million people in America that self-identify as Latinos more access to capital. The mission of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is to promote growth, development, and interests of more than 5 million Hispanic-owned businesses, contributing more than $800 billion to the American economy every year. When Hispanic businesses succeed, jobs are created, the economy grows stronger, and we have better goods and services, and we're more competitive globally. And yes, people have been talking about a recession now for almost 3 years. And that's okay. Those of you that talk about it, keep talking about it. But you're going to make it happen if you're not careful. Our attitude, our positive focus on job creation, on growing the economy, will get us going through the economy and make sure that we don't go into a cycle of a slight recession in the future. Attitude is everything, as you know. So we are the muscle and the brains of this economy, and we are the future for growing the contributions to the U.S. economy. Hispanic-owned businesses are our nation's economic treasure. It's a business community that, through great work ethic and innovation, partnerships, solidarity, has sacrificed to build a better America for many generations. We've been here for more than 500 years. The first ones here after Native Americans. The first language was Spanish in this country. And so at this morning's plenary, as we talk about addressing and defining our issues and our time, I want to ensure that our members are equipped with the knowledge, resources, and networks that, as Winston Churchill used to say, when you're going through hell, keep going. We're going to keep going forward, and we're going to see it through this post-pandemic economic situation we're in. And our own preparation will help us. As a nation, we must continue to access capital, education, and procurement opportunities to unleash the potential of $2.85 trillion economy, which is our GDP. We are the 5th largest economy in the world if we were our own nation. And the Latino Donor Collaborative does that research, and we're very grateful to our partners. Together, we're stronger. Our vision as a leading voice in advancing Hispanic business potential is to drive our economy forward and upward. We're a chamber of commerce. We're all about business. And I love to tell people, Sid Wilson, it's okay to make money. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing to make money. And don't be afraid to make money. And don't be afraid to, this free enterprise system is about competition. And if you're prepared and you have access to capital, and if you have lots of ganas, you're going to succeed. That's the beauty of the creation of the greatest nation in the world, the greatest economy in the world. So all that happens here in the next 2 days at the Legislative Summit, it's about you. It's about our 260 Hispanic chambers around the country. Let's give them a round of applause. Everyone is in this together. I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege. I want to thank the many people in the room who are with us today, who made today possible. I want to thank our board of directors of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, our chairman, Nelson Ranieri. Let's give them a round of applause if they could stand. I want to thank our staff. If they could just raise their hand. I know they're in and out. Thank you so much, everyone, for working. We have a lot of people behind the scenes working to make this happen. And so thank you also to our production team, Unico Communications, a Latino-owned business. Lisa Bombin, I know she's in the back somewhere with probably 3 headphones. Thank you, Lisa, to you and your team. And I want to thank all of our corporate sponsors. I see Angie and so many great friends. Megan, thank you so much for the support of our corporate partners. This would not be possible. And join me in acknowledging our big sponsors, Google, AT&T, Bank of America, Visa, DoorDash, Mass Mutual, Edison Electric Institute, Municipal Finance and Services Corporation, Philip Morris International. Let's give them a round of applause. Those are our big sponsors. So I'm inspired today. I was having a conversation with my wife the other day, and she was born in Dallas. She's Mexican-American. She was talking about how she's assimilated, to get along in the corporate world. She works for a Fortune 20 company. I said, babe, you didn't have to assimilate. This is our country. You dominate both cultures, your Latino culture that you grew up with, and this American culture is becoming more Latino every day. It's other people that have to assimilate to us. I said, this is our nation. So I told her, don't ever say you assimilated. You had no reason to assimilate. And she goes, yeah, you're right, yeah. Well, she goes, it's just because I work with a bunch of men every day. And I'm the only Latina, and it's the energy industry. And I said, that's okay. I said, you're breaking barriers. You're showing them how it's done the right way. I'm so proud of her. I wish she were here. But thanks to her, I'm here with you and able to work on your behalf and the Hispanic business community along with our family. So it's an inspiring morning for me. Everything indicates that our future is strong. Businesses and all of you represent the backbone of our economy. The local chambers, I see Ernie C. de Vaca, so many great friends. You all are critical to, on the ground, providing the technical assistance, resources, and tools needed to sustain growth in your communities. We are nothing without the chambers, the 260 chambers throughout the country, and I mean that. We're only as strong as our weakest link. We want to collaborate with agencies, not just say it, but we are actually doing it. I want to thank all of our national leaders and partners. I see some great friends here. Antonio, I mentioned Sid earlier. Of course, Cristobal, thank you so much for everything. We need to be stronger together. L-Band, my friends at L-Band, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. So, you're not here to hear me talk, but I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making our chamber the strongest business organization in America, supporting small business and being a trusted partner. So give yourself a round of applause. I have the honor of introducing a great friend. Don Cravens is a son of Louisiana. He serves as the first Undersecretary of Commerce for Minority Business Development. He leads our Minority Business Development Agency in service of our more than 10 million minority-owned businesses. For more than 50 years, this MBDA has not been its own standalone powerhouse. And thanks to President Biden, it was signed into the Minority Business Development Act of 2021. President Biden signed the Minority Business Development Agency Act, expanding and making permanent the Minority Business Development Agency as the newest federal agency. Every year it had to be renewed. Don Cravens is an attorney, and he's an amazing human being, but he's also a politician. He previously served as a member of the Louisiana State Legislature, was the Executive Vice President and Chief Operations Officer of the National Urban League, among other non-for-profit organizations. Don and his wife, Yvette, have 3 beautiful children, and they reside in Maryland. I'd like to once again thank Secretary Cravens for being a voice and a champion for all business owners. He has a purpose, he has a passion, and he's assisting with all of us navigating the challenges related to not just the recovery from COVID, but in Louisiana, he was, as an elected official, in charge of the recovery and rebuilding after Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Rita, as you all remember, devastated many of our small businesses. So the work continues in his current role. I met him when he was with National Urban League, and they've become great partners with us. We're so proud of Don Cravens and the work that he's doing and what he means to the future of our nation's minority business community. Please join me in welcoming to the podium my great friend, Don Cravens.
Thank you. Good morning. I told Ramiro I need him to introduce me at my house. I need my family to hear these great things about me. It is so good to be with all of you, and thank you, Ramiro. The feeling is mutual. I could not have a better friend and a better partner than Ramiro Cavazos and his entire team. It's good to see Leroy is on loan back for the conference. Ask him if you don't know what that means. But no, it's good to be here with you. And I want to just congratulate and thank all of you who are here this morning, the members of the Chamber, the sponsors of the Chamber, the men and women who make the Chamber work. Just thank you for what you do in sponsoring and supporting this outstanding organization, one of MBDA's closest partners. And so I would not have missed this opportunity to be here. I was with you all, I think we were in Arizona not too long ago, and I was brand new in the job. Well, the honeymoon is over and the work has begun. And so I'm honored to be with you this morning, just to bring a couple of remarks to you. And let me just start by saying, just on behalf of the administration, the Biden administration, Secretary Raimondo, Deputy Secretary Graves at the Department of Commerce, I bring you greetings and want to congratulate you on another what's going to be a successful policy conference for the Hispanic Chamber. I had some wonderful remarks that this young man over here prepared for me yesterday and read them last night and said, these are great. And then I was up this morning just with the worst heartburn. I can't eat sloppy joes apparently anymore at 50. And I thought about, it's the truth, we have a 12-year-old. So, my wife and I, we have the 20-year-olds and the 12-year-olds. Sloppy joes 10, 12 years ago were fine. I was up this morning and I was just thinking about what would I tell you if I was talking to my family from Louisiana? And then I thought, well, I am talking to my family. They may not be from Louisiana, but they're from all over this great country. But I'm looking in the audience, and many of you are my family. You are my friends. And what would I share with you? You're going to hear from Deputy Secretary Wally Adeyemo later on today from the Department of Treasury. I'm sure you'll see Alejandra Castillo and some of our other wonderful partners. They're going to tell you about all the wonderful opportunities that await us right now in this point in our nation's history. I want to give you just maybe a little family advice, what I would say to my family, my local chamber. And what I want to tell you is three things. I want to tell you that what you do is critically important. I need you to just, while you're here in Washington, in our nation's capital, just take a little step back and think about what it is that you do and why it is so critically important to the men and women and the families that you serve from all over this great country. I'm a child of a Chamber of Commerce. My mother and father were founders of our black chamber in Southwest Louisiana. I was a young boy going to those meetings with my parents and our other business owners, mostly small business owners in Lafayette, Louisiana, the Southwest Louisiana Black Chamber of Commerce. It was a place they could brainstorm. It was a place they could solicit business. It was a place that they could cry and complain and cope. Does that sound familiar with some of the chambers that you still have today? That's what the chamber for us meant. And it was critical and crucial part of, it was a critical and crucial part of the business community in my neck of the woods. And so what you still do to this day, ladies and gentlemen, it's critical, as maybe more critical than ever in the communities where you serve. The second thing I want to talk to you about is the advocacy of the U.S. Chamber, why you are here for a policy conference. The advocacy you are doing is making a difference. Some of you are probably sitting there right now wondering, why do we do this every year? Why are we here? What difference are we making? You heard Ramiro talking about it. Because of your advocacy, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we have a permanent minority business development agency. I read your papers. Jackson and I went back and read some of your policy papers. You have been advocating for a permanent department that focuses on the businesses you serve. You made that happen. It wasn't Don Craven's. I'm blessed to be your first undersecretary, but you made that happen. It paid off. Every day we go to work. Every day I bring these young folks, we go to work and we make a difference. We're thinking about you. That advocacy made a difference. For decades, this chamber asked, demanded, suggested strongly that our country focus in our own communities, that we invest in American neighborhoods. Nearly $4 trillion is going to be spent over the next 10 years in our neighborhoods. That's because of you. That's not luck. That's because of these fly-ins that you've been doing for decades. You deserve a round of applause for that. So as you think about what you've accomplished, and maybe you're not giving yourself the credit, I want you to refocus maybe a little bit. You've won that part of the battle. Now it's about making sure that the $4 trillion is not just benefits our communities, our Hispanic and Latino communities. We want to create the benefit. We want to own the benefit. We don't want to just drive electric cars. We want to design them and manufacture them and own the charging stations. We don't want to just drive on great bridges. We want to build the great bridges. That is what takes me to my third point. You have to hold us accountable, ladies and gentlemen. Make us be transparent. Ask where the money's going at all levels of government, the federal government, your state government, and your local levels. Otherwise, we people of color will miss out on this economic boom, this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And we can't afford to do that. Our young people can't afford it. We older folks can't afford it. This is our investment in America that this chamber has been asking Republicans and Democrats for decades to finally make. This is our opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you were created to do, and you're doing very well. But we've got some work to do. We've got to invest in our own communities and our own country. The good thing is we've got some seats at the table that we've never had before. I named some of them. Many of you in this room, you are sitting in positions that people who look like us just were not allowed to sit in for forever. But we're here now. We have a seat at the table. And we're not just sitting at the table, we're deciding what's on the menu. Let's not waste this opportunity. Let's not miss this wonderful opportunity. You are already putting $800 billion in America's economy. Our Latino and Hispanic community, you are a lifeblood of this wonderful nation, as Ramiro said. You are America. Let's make sure that this investment we're making is in you and your communities as well. Now, that's the best I can do as preaching, as a Catholic boy. But that's what I would tell my chamber from Southwest Louisiana, that little black chamber that my parents started. And it's the message I want to give to you, because you're my family too. Each and every day, drive to the Department of Commerce. Still as a country boy from Southwest Louisiana, it's still intimidating in some ways, but just such a blessing. But I want you to know that each and every day I go, I think about those Hispanic and Latino business owners I met in Wisconsin. When I was at the Wisconsin Latino Chamber of Commerce, I remember those stories. Jessica, I remember them. I remember those stories when I was in Arizona at our Hispanic chamber there. That chamber runs the Minority Business Development Agency's Business Center. I remember those stories. Monica and Alika gave me some new ones yesterday. I bring them with me every day at the Department of Commerce. It's what you would want me to do. It's what my parents would want me to do. And it's what I have to do. This is our time, ladies and gentlemen. We've waited too long. Like a very well-written but very sad telenovela, we've been waiting all of our lives. We have been waiting all our lives for this opportunity, and it's here. It's here. We've got work to do. I'm prepared. There's something different about this time. You made it different. You made it different. Now let's get it done and finish. I wish you all the best. I hope that you have a wonderful conference. I will be around to see some of you. Some of you I haven't seen in some time, but it is an honor to represent you, to work for you. And if I can ever be of any of assistance, you know how to find me. I'm just one email, text, or phone call away, and Ramiro can find me at any moment. It's an honor. Thank you so much. Good luck with everything. God bless you each and all, and look forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Undersecretary Cravens. We are now honored to welcome our next speaker, who will introduce our dynamic panel, Small Business and Entrepreneurship, Challenges and Opportunities. Welcome to the stage Executive Vice President and Head of Diverse Segments Commercial Banking for Wells Fargo, Patty Juarez.
Buenos días. Órale, primo. Good morning, everyone. My name is Patty Juarez, and I'm here representing Wells Fargo and all my teammates over there. I'm actually the newly appointed head of Hispanic and Latino Affairs for Wells Fargo, and I've been at the bank for a short 28 years. I know, I started as a baby banker. I'm a proud member of the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Ruben Franco, where are you? And I'm also a newly minted director for the USHCC board. So very proud to serve. Welcome to America's Business Future Breakfast. As you know, Hispanic-owned businesses are the nation's economic treasure. They are the fastest growing businesses, fastest growing revenues, fastest growing employers, fastest growing, period. This plenary will address the defining issues of our time so that our members are equipped with knowledge, resources, and networks that they will need to lead these thriving businesses. Let me introduce you to our panelists and our moderator. You'll hear this morning from Nancy Galvan, the daughter of Mexican immigrants. She grew up with 3 brothers, and her mother called her La Única. As a reminder of her proud Mexican heritage, today she is the owner and CEO of Única Enterprises. We'll also hear from Frank Garcia, who is a proud member and executive committee member of the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, and he is the president and CEO of Paragon Enterprises, where he has tripled the revenues of the company in the last 3 years. And our moderator today is Jennifer Rodriguez, President and CEO of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and a rockstar USHCC board member. Help me welcome our panelists and our moderator to the stage.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, and look at this fantastic audience. Sold out, and we might be the fastest at everything. I'm not sure they were talking about me when we said the fastest. I will not be able to run anywhere fast. But, so today we're here, the rock stars of this event in my mind, and I hope in your mind, are the Hispanic entrepreneurs and Hispanic business enterprises. We want to learn from them. We want to learn about their stories. And so I am so glad to have Frank and Nancy with me this morning. Want to talk a little bit about your experiences. How have you scaled your business? Some of the trials and tribulations, right? It's not always a very smooth path, but we have here 2 fantastic entrepreneurs that have really done magnificent work. So why don't we start with Nancy? Tell us a little bit about your business experience and success, and how has the 8A program, which is a small business administration program designed for disadvantaged enterprises. Tell us a little bit about that program and how it has helped you.
Sure. Well, good morning, everyone. So I've got to start at the origin story about Única. I started in 2007, and It was really just a response I needed. It was a necessity. I was going through a personal financial crisis, is what I say. And during the time I was working at Bell Helicopter, my day job, a defense contractor. So I always knew that the federal government was a viable client. I learned that working at the defense industry. So I thought, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a cleaning business. I can do it in the evenings. At some point, I can sell to the federal government. Low startup. I didn't have capital in the beginning, so there you go. Unica was born. And I did both at the same time. I worked my day job and ran Unica for several years till I had scaled enough business to leave my day job, and that was in 2010. Knowing that at some point I will work for the federal government. They will be a client of Unica's. It wasn't until 2018 where we got our first federal 8A contract, multi-million-dollar contract. So I give you the years because I want you to see and envision the time it took to scale up the business. But thanks to the 8A, I was able to work out of a federal military base in Fort Worth.
And it's fantastic. Well, it's Women's Heritage Month, and I think one of the facts that is really critical for us in the Latino community is that females are really the growth behind entrepreneurship in the Latino community. Having a female that has created a company such as yours, that had been able to take advantage of federal contracting, that's not very usual. We were talking earlier, and she was saying, very few females in my field, right? So congratulations in everything you've done. The 8A program, it's particular. I run a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in Philadelphia, and the reality is I talk to the employees and the staff of the Small Business Administration, and there's a really always looking at, can we recruit more Latino-owned businesses for this program? The 8A program is fantastic, right? It provides you with a 9-year certification that gives you certain advantages in contracting for the federal government, knowing that there's a 5% goal of contracting with disadvantaged firms at that level. I looked at your website, and you have an incredible record of working with the 8A program. So Frank, can you tell us a little bit about how has it helped you scale?
Well, first, thank you to Ramiro and all of the USHCC staff for allowing me to speak here, because this is a really important topic. Everybody has someone that helps them, and there's a few people in this audience that I want to recognize. First, I started with Cindy Ramos Davidson in El Paso, Texas, Empire Builder program. So I always give her and her wonderful chamber great credit. I'm very honored to be, I think, the youngest member of the Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and Executive Committee. Right. So proud to advise and assist Mr. Ernie Citabaca and Ms. Bibi Hidalgo with the Small Business Administration. You have a front row seat to two emerging 8As. But the 8A program is a really tremendous program. And I think more importantly, right now, it's a time of war, right? So the industrial base of contractors must be resilient. It must be able to respond and provide surge support during times of crisis. So not only does it give a tremendous opportunity for socially and economically disadvantaged communities, but it also is such an important pillar of the national security of the United States. And so every day, Nancy and I are extremely proud to be able to do that. For Parakin in particular, it has allowed us, amongst the Hub Zone program and the Small Disadvantaged Business program, the 8A program, to really develop our capabilities, test our business skills. And today, we've performed over 200 federal contracts. Small Business, Hub Zone, 8A, over $175 million of revenue in 10 years. So it's been a really great opportunity, not just for us as owners to have that experience and the pressure that comes with it, but also to build our teams and to reinvest in the community, because that's what it's about.
And that is fantastic. It is not easily achieved. One of the conversations we had is, it's a 9-year-long program, and at the end of the 9 years, you're graduated into, fully competitive environment. Can you tell us a little bit about how long it took you to get those first contracts and how you're thinking about now you're in year 7, right?
Right.
Transitioning out of the program into the fully competitive world.
Sure, well, it took us 2 years exactly till we got our first contract. And that is a long time in the business world. But we were selling and marketing, and we just couldn't move fast enough. But once it happens, it's like a snowball effect. And now on our 7th year, we have, for the last 2 years, we have moved into the partnership realm. So now we're in a couple of partnerships. They're called MPAs, or mentor-protege agreements, where we'll partner with a big company. And it allows us to scale to their capacity. So we have partnered with Airmark, a $14 billion company. So now that we can go after contracts to their capacity. And we've also partnered with Technica, a federal contractor that is in warehousing and logistics. So yeah, we've had to pivot some, thinking long-term after the 8A.
And so that is one of the advantages of the program. From what I understand, it provides you with opportunities for mentoring so that it helps you scale better. I think one conversation that we were having backstage is this idea of growing by acquisition or growing and scaling your business through partnerships and joint ventures. And that is something that in my world, I don't see nearly as often as I would like to see. And it's fantastic to learn, Frank, that you have employed some of those tactics to scale your business beyond what you would be able to do if you do it organically, one employee at a time and one contract at a time. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience using joint ventures, partnerships?
Sure. So the SBA has a lot of really robust tools, as Nancy was saying, to help cultivate and support, and in many cases, accelerate growth. And so we've operated in about 12 different joint venture environments with different companies in engineering and construction and environmental. Most recently, we just birthed a strategic partnership with a wholly owned subsidiary of the Navajo Nation. So it's really allowing us to expand our reach and our opportunity. I would say, since BB's in the audience, we need to extend the term to 12 years.
That would be nice.
And increase the threshold, which this administration has really tried to do at every step. And actually, Nancy and I were lucky. So because of the COVID crisis, this administration gave us an extra year in the 8A program. So we got 10 years. So thank you very much for that, BB. We appreciate that.
That is fantastic. I think there has been a note made for advocacy at the USHCC, 12 years for the 8A program.
Yes.
Yes.
Noted. Everything has not been easy, I'm sure. You don't get from Nancy, you started the business, you have grown it this far, you had challenges.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the key challenges that you overcame as you scaled your business?
The first challenge that comes to mind is really, it's my capacity. I know what I know. As an entrepreneur, I know that it's natural for me to just get in there and figure it out. And that's although it is a benefit because I take the risks, but it also holds me back to some extent if I don't manage it right. So what I do now is I'm very intentional about surrounding myself in the business community. I'm on the board with the Dallas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm involved with the SBA and any type of education that I can get, business education, textbook education, I'm all over it. In fact, now I am part of the EC Columbia Business School program. It's a year-long program that teaches specifically to entrepreneurs. And I've been in that program for 3 months, and I'm already implementing things that I've learned into my business. So my point is, I'm so enthusiastic about getting the work, doing the work, and I'm moving at 100 miles an hour that sometimes I hit these barriers because it's just constant learning and failing and learning and failing. But I mean, that's probably entrepreneurship in a nutshell, right?
Indeed it is. And so this idea of taking time off or setting aside some time to build yourself, your skills, your mindset as a CEO, a strategic thinker, surrounding yourself with professionals that can provide the best advice so that you can succeed, and not try and do everything yourself. So this idea of entrepreneurship as a do-it-yourself project is oftentimes what I tell entrepreneurs. It is a community sport, not for you to figure out everything by yourself. In fact, you succeed when you access the social capital in your world. So you are involved in the Hispano Chamber in Albuquerque. I'm sure that the relationships that you have had there have helped you scale your business. Can you tell us a little bit, Frank, about challenges and how you have overcome them?
Sure. So I have a white hair for every challenge at 34 years old, but it's...
Well, you know there's like hair dye for that, right?
There is. Not yet.
Every 6 weeks.
But the challenges they're going to be there. That we're in a litigious society, so you're going to have legal challenges, you're going to have contracting challenges, you're going to have cash flow challenges, and I think what's unique to individually owned companies is the pressure ultimately falls on the personal indemnity of the owners.
Sure.
And so that has been, I think when you're starting out, that doesn't really fully sink in until something happens, and then you got to navigate it and you bear the weight of that responsibility. But for all the challenges, there's opportunities.
Absolutely.
And so through the chamber, we try to educate people on the challenges, but also the opportunities and the partnerships, and really being part of the ecosystem that will help protect you and help you grow in those times.
And well, that's very well said, and I think you're a spokesperson that we should work with very often. So when I talk about challenges, right, we know that Latinos don't access capital at the same level, at the same rate, under the same conditions that other groups do. We also know that obtaining a contract when you're trying to scale can be very challenging. That first contract that is like, that's the one that's gonna take me over this stage and I'm gonna be able to get my business to the next level. But you might find yourself, well, now I need to finance, I need to figure out that journey, how do I get there successfully? Can you tell us, Nancy, how has that been for you?
The banking relationship is very handy, yes. I'm very adamant that I've been with my bank for this Chase, same bank since the beginning, and it is key when it's time for money. And thankfully, I've got that relationship, and it takes time and years to build that relationship. So I would say that the bank, the financial world is the first place to start when building these relationships.
Fantastic. That's having a banker that can help you. And we learned that through the PPP program and during the pandemic, right? How important having those relationships can be. Social capital, oftentimes, I will be in a panel, somebody will ask, what is the #1 challenge for small businesses? Capital. Yes, capital. But who do you know and what relationships you have that allow you to reach the right capital is something that I always tell entrepreneurs is important. So back to capital and growing pains. Frank, tell us about how is it that you have been able to finance and get the business rolling?
Yeah. No, it's a very real problem. There's ways to mitigate it. Bill. Every business knows that. Cash flow is king. For us, and particularly, this is another really wonderful thing of being in the small business program under the Small Business Administration, but there's provisions in the Code of Federal Regulations that really allows you to expedite receipt of cash. So if I'm giving some really practical advice, it would be bill. bank, great credit, and partner with large established firms with the resources to help you scale and grow. That's how we've been able to navigate it.
And so what we've heard here, right, is number one, it doesn't come without challenges. Growing a business has there's a lot of opportunities. A program that helps you accelerate through contracts is a fantastic opportunity to scale. And the 8A program is one that is underutilized in the Hispanic community, and we here have examples of how well that program can work. We have heard that it's important to get an ecosystem around you, have a strong banking partner, perhaps do joint ventures that will help you scale your business. If you had to say anything, Frank, to a business in order to help them get scaled, what would you say?
I would say put yourself in the center of the ecosystem that's designed for your industry. Support the ecosystem, network. Takes a village to raise a business. And if you do those things, if you learn, if you self-educate, if you can handle a certain level of risk, and you're open to strategic teaming and partnerships, you'll probably do just fine.
And Nancy, in 2 words.
Two words. I would say be timely, have a good plan of action, and put yourself out there. The help is out there. People are out there. Everyone, I've had so much support. So just get out there and do it, make it happen.
So building a business is a village effort, it's a community effort. Thank you so much for being with us today. We are so very proud.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to all our panelists. Members and colleagues, we hope you're enjoying the programming. Before we continue, we'd like to invite our gold sponsor to share brief remarks. Representing Bank of America, please give a round of applause to Senior Director at Merrill Lynch Business, Frank Castellanos.
Buenos dias. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Boy, it is exciting to be sitting in front of the economic engine of the United States. I mean, this is inspiring. So normally bankers aren't usually in vogue, and normally nobody wants to hear from a boring banker, right? But over the last 2 weeks, we've been in the press a lot, so hopefully what we say today will resonate. Today, I have the pleasure of representing our Bank of America family and colleagues here that serve with me, and our commitment to this community and to this business. Why did I join this industry just 6 years ago from a second career in the foreign service? Because of the vital role that our company and many others like Wells Fargo do in capitalizing small business owners and business owners in our country. So in the spirit of being a boring banker, in the spirit of being boring, I'm just gonna share some facts with you, okay? 15 years that we have partnered with the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and supported their work. 12 million. The number of Hispanic Latino clients that our company represents in banks today. 1 million small business owners that are Hispanic Latino in this country, okay? 1 in 3, 33%. 33% of our new banking relationships in the United States today are opened by Hispanic Latino clients. Think about that. Think about the demographic change in this country and where that's going, okay? Here's a problem. 2%. 2% of venture capital funds are allocated to startups with diverse leaders. 2%, right? So what are we doing about that? All right, some more numbers. 421 million. Our commitment to over 130 funds that directly support those small businesses, right? That are Hispanic and minority owned. 200 million, right, is the capital we've committed to community partners that provide capital to depository institutions and the community centers to help people, right, build their businesses. 15 billion. 15 billion is our commitment to affordable housing across the country, helping over 60,000 people right, achieve the American dream of owning a home. 263 million, the number of loans and investments to CDFIs that finance our most significant community services. And finally, 2 billion. That is our overall portfolio for CDFIs throughout the country, making us one of the largest investors helping our communities, right? So when I look across the stage and I see the economic engine of this country, right, and everybody having a tremendous impact, we want to be the fuel that fires that engine, right? And we want to help capitalize the business that's taking place in this country and in this room. So we're proud of the work that we've done to date, but there's more for us to do, significantly more for us to do, and our commitment is to do that. And our partnership with you today, and quite frankly with USHCC, is going to get us there. So we're proud to represent the work that we do here, happy to be here. I'll turn it over to our next speaker. Thank you very much.
Now welcome up to the podium the principal for Point B, where he advises clients in the environmental, social, and governance industries. Colleagues, please give a round of applause and welcome to the stage your USHCC Chairman of the Board, Nelson Rainieri Jr.
Good morning, buenos dias. It's a pleasure to see you here, and it's a privilege to welcome you to our annual and once again sold-out legislative conference. I have the honor of serving as chair of the board of the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I want to begin by thanking my fellow board members, and in particular, our previous chair, Alice Rodriguez, and our chair-elect, Jackie Puente. I also want to express my appreciation to our amazing president and CEO, Ramiro Cavazos, and his outstanding team. Let's give him a round of applause. And in particular, to the many chamber presidents who are with us today, we owe you a great deal of appreciation for your leadership. You are the connective tissue that brings it all together. And of course, we could not do this, we could not have this conference without the generous and deeply appreciated support from our many wonderful sponsors and partners. It's a pleasure and privilege also to welcome and to introduce our next speaker, Deputy Secretary of the Treasury, Wally Adeyemo. We've had a wonderful opportunity to have a few comments and a few minutes with him before, and I'm really excited to make this presentation. Secretary Adeyemo's servant leadership journey is rich with examples of tackling big, complex challenges. From his first service to our nation when he was at Treasury during the Obama administration, he had various leadership roles during a very challenging time for our nation. As Deputy Secretary, he serves as the Treasury Department's #2 and the Chief Operating Officer. Secretary Adeyemo has taken a leading role in Treasury's national security, economic inequality, and pandemic-related economic recovery work while supporting Secretary Yellen in driving the department's fundamental mission, promoting economic growth and ensuring financial security of the United States. In between his tours of public service, he also had leadership roles, including serving as the first president of the Obama Foundation and as a senior advisor at the Center for Strategic International Studies and at BlackRock, where he focused on ESG, something near and dear to our hearts and something that's very important to our mission. He's a graduate of University of California at Berkeley and also Yale Law School. He was born in Nigeria, and he and his family immigrated and spent their growth in California. Mr. Secretary, on behalf of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we understand the last weeks you may have been just a little busier than usual. So we deeply appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and please know that you have a committed partner in our chamber. We look forward to your remarks. Mr. Secretary?
Good morning. It's a privilege to be here with you today. And for many of you, you probably remember that my boss, Secretary Yellen, addressed this group almost exactly 2 years ago. I know the world felt different then. For one, she joined you by Zoom. But even more than that, the COVID-19 pandemic defined so many of the aspects of our lives back then. Where we went, how we worked, and how we spent time with the ones that we loved. Things have changed dramatically since then, and for the better. But before I go into how the Biden administration working together with the American people have helped us get to this moment, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about the banking system and the events of the last week. At the Treasury Department, we view maintaining the stability of our financial system and the resilience of our banking sector as a core component of our mission. This is especially true when it comes to institutions like minority-owned depository institutions, community banks, and CDFIs. the small and medium-sized institutions that are often the closest to the communities they bank and that have the strongest track records of reaching underserved communities. That is why, in response to the recent two bank failures, Secretary Yellen took decisive action to restore stability and confidence in our system, in coordination with the Federal Reserve and the FDIC. Secretary Yellen acted to ensure depositors were protected and to work with the Federal Reserve to create a new temporary facility to provide liquidity to other banks that might need them during this challenging time. And we achieved all of this while ensuring none of the losses from these institutions would be borne by taxpayers. These actions were targeted not at protecting our banks, they were targeted at protecting the hard-earned savings of American depositors across the country. Money that was used to pay rent, mortgages, grocery bills, money that those of you who are business owners use for payrolls. The Secretary sent a clear message that the goal here was to make sure that depositors realized that if their money was in the American banking system, that money would be safe. Of course, it's paramount that the Americans understand that the deposits are safe, but I want to take a moment to dig deeper into our commitment to protecting this country's small and mid-sized banks and community banks, CDFIs and MDIs. We know that smaller banks, those that would have been at greatest risk absent the steps we took, play a critical role in providing access to capital in Hispanic communities and other communities of color. According to one survey, a higher share of minority small business owners than white small business owners report that community banks and credit unions are more vital to the U.S. banking system than national banks. That survey also found that 70% of non-white small business owners plan to open an account at a community bank or credit union in the next 12 months. Let's be clear about what this data is saying, that Hispanic and other diverse small business owners know that our small and mid-sized banks matter. They matter to our economy, they matter to their businesses, they matter to their families. They know they can rely on them for the capital and support they need to grow their businesses and support their families. That's why it is so critical to us at the Treasury Department that these small and regional banks know they can rely on us, the United States Department of the Treasury. We, of course, are continuing to monitor the current situation and to consider what steps can be taken to further strengthen America's financial stability. Taking a step back, though, it is clear that our actions have stabilized the banking system and provided liquidity to small and medium-sized banks at the heart of our economy, enabling them to continue to serve the families and small businesses in Hispanic communities and others who rely on them. As the President has said, it's also important that we review the failures of the two banks in question to ensure we have a set of rules and procedures for the banking system that continues to protect our economy and depositors across the country. The steps we have taken to stabilize the banking system and support the banks that serve Hispanic communities and others are just the latest in our efforts to protect American communities of colors and underserved communities. When Secretary Yellen spoke to you 2 years ago, we were just 3 weeks into the implementation of the President's American Rescue Plan, an act that provided more than $1 trillion in federal recovery funds for the U.S. economy. She promised back then that when we looked back at the pandemic, we wouldn't simply conclude that Hispanic workers and businesses were the victims of the 2020 economy. We'd see that they were the builders of a better one in 2021 and beyond. Today, I am proud to tell you that working together with you, we have kept these commitments at the center of our recovery and the economic growth strategies that we've put in place. The numbers tell a clear story about the historic equitable recovery, including for the Hispanic communities. In 2021, for example, Hispanic entrepreneurs started small businesses at the highest rate in more than a decade. Hispanic unemployment saw its fastest one-year drop, and in 2022 reached its lowest rate ever. And through the American Rescue Plan's reauthorization of the Advanced Child Tax Credit, we were able to reduce child poverty by half, including a 42% cut in Hispanic child poverty. At Treasury and across the Biden administration, we're proud of this recovery, and I want to thank you for your partnership in these efforts over the last 2 years. Fundamentally, what the President always says, what we know to be true, is that ultimately what we in government must do is empower the American people to build the kind of economy we need. the one that works for everyone, including communities of colors throughout this country. We strongly believe that unlocking the unrealized potential of communities like the Hispanic community is critical to building an economy for the future that works for everyone. And I look forward to continuing the partnership with this organization. And on behalf of Secretary Yellen, I'm so happy to be able to be here in person because doing this event in person demonstrates the progress we've made as a country working together. And we know that ultimately it is the hard work and determination of groups like the Hispanic Chamber that are critical to growing our economy. And the United States Department of Treasury looks forward to being your partner today, tomorrow, and for all time. So thank you for having me. I look forward to continuing to work with you. Take care.
Thank you to all our distinguished speakers during this morning's program. This concludes the America's Business Future Breakfast. Legislative Summit workshops will begin promptly at 10:30 a.m. in Seaport Rooms 1 and 2 meeting spaces. We look forward to seeing you back here at 11:45 as doors open for our second plenary, Building Back America Through Hispanic Business Luncheon. Hasta pronto!